Yo, 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 yo,
Hello.
yo.
Heyo.
I don't know how to do the intro bumpers.
I feel like it's just part of the video.
Oh, I just skipped it. Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
if you click something.
I see. I see.
That would be you.
So he had it set up to be easier, and I made it more difficult. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Producer Lounge.
Fancy over there.
My name is
right.
Caleb's Manfield.
Nice.
I am your host, along with Dave, and our special guest today, Warren and Von Klessy.
Yeah.
Welcome,
Thank
boys.
you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How we feeling?
Stressed.
A little stressed,
Very
but
stressed. It's okay. It's just a podcast, guys.
good.
Nothing
Yeah,
too
no,
big.
we've been. I've been.
Oh, man,
I've been losing sleep over this podcast for a
Yeah,
while.
I know. This is our. If you guys don't know, we're doing a 24-hour stream
Yeah.
starting now.
With
gonna
no
be-
food or water.
No food or water. We get
Just see how
one
long we
drink.
survive
Yep.
without dying.
We're all wearing diapers.
I'm not. No. No.
You're not allowed to leave this desk.
Let's not go there.
Yes. Caleb is not here
Just
this week.
stewing.
Caleb is doing his first tour in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
know.
It was nice knowing him.
It was nice knowing him, but
I just
We're gonna
don't.
miss him.
You know, I don't think I really see him again. He's the dinosaurs and everything.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
it's bad.
So what are you guys actually stressing about?
Um,
What's going down in 2 days?
we're playing our first show, first DJ set.
Congrats.
Thank you. all three of us.
Yeah, you're in it.
Yeah, all three of us. We're under in Vega. We're doing our first show, and we've been prepping for it for probably for the last 5 months, 4 or
Basically.
5 months. Yeah, and it's gone through a lot of.
Probably been a lot,
Yeah.
like a lot more than we've needed to do. But
Yeah.
We were like building the set just for fun, like trying to get a set ready. But then Frick hit us up. He's like, "Yo, you want to play in a month?"
And we're like,
Come on,
oh,
let's
okay.
do it.
And then it was go time because
And it was go time, yeah.
But
Like,
yeah,
oh,
it's-
we actually have to fine tune this. Oh,
Yeah, when we just had the 400 versus WA, which was an interesting experience. It was cool, and then now we're doing this.
that
So
shit was nuts.
That was nuts.
I was honestly more stressed for that.
For
Oh,
some
yeah,
reason,
that
that was.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Right.
at least we have time to prep for this. That was just like figure it out in 24 hours and just see what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
That was nuts. But it was really fun, like working with Kyle and Vic over Discord and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
John, like that was sick.
All the
I would
boys in
like
the
to
chat.
do something like that more. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a competition or anything like that, but just to make more shit with the homies like that, like just I don't know. We could even literally do like what can we do in a week or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then just send a bunch of shit through each other. We could even still do the rolls, maybe.
Oh, you're saying as like a big crew?
Yeah,
again?
yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
Like with like, well, it doesn't have to be 10 people. It could be like
Sure.
however many
3,
people are down.
5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
3,
doesn't.
2.
It doesn't have to be fucking 10 people, but like.
That was insane.
That was insane.
It was just a fun experience because I'm always so used to making stuff with you guys like here, and I feel like that's probably not a lot of other people's experience. Like, since it seems like most producers are relatively on their own,
Mm-hmm.
they always like send stems back and forth and everything, and like we don't really need to do that because I'm always just working with you guys, and you could just like pop something on pCloud project with like a loop, and then just bring it over here. And we're
Yeah,
here.
what we did was we had people hanging out on Discord, and then we all had Sonobus.
Oh yes, that
this
helped
program.
a lot.
That's a VST. It's also like a standalone thing that you could do on your computer, but you can all sign into the same Sonobus kind of lobby, if you will. I don't know. It just same page, and then you can all hear each other's output. So you can just check in and be like, "Oh, what's this person making right now?"
It's
Right,
free
right.
And solo
it's
them. And
really easy
Yeah.
to use.
Yeah.
Like
you put it on your master.
And then you're
Yeah.
just chilling.
Yeah,
It's a good tool just in
it's really cool.
in case you just want to like hit up one of your friends and be like, listen to this real quick, and then they can actually hear exactly what you're hearing, as opposed to like having to send them just some MP3 or some WAV file. Or
Right,
whatever.
right. And you
actually
have
just
to
hear it.
export it and wait, and then wait for them to listen.
well, it's sick because
just
you could
real
be
time.
like, do you like this thing or do you like this other thing? And then just like mute the tracks.
Right,
And then just
right.
like see if they're down with it, you know? Like it's way more fucking versatile than just like sending a stem or something and then just be like, well, okay, hold up, I gotta send you this other stem with this other idea that I have.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of nuts that that's free, but I'm not gonna complain either way.
No.
Like,
There's
It's
a
so
lot of
useful.
tools that are free that it's insane that they're free. Like just figuring out recently that Ozone Imager is free. I always assumed that was did it used to cost money?
Ozone.
Ozone
No
Imager?
idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, just learning how many random plugins are just free, or
I
like
mean, I've seen a bunch of ads on Instagram for like some of their other stuff.
they have like
But,
mastering plugins and
I
a
don't
bunch of
know.
other stuff.
I don't know
Yeah.
exactly.
I've
Oh wait,
never-
no, never mind. I'm getting it mixed up with that isotope one.
They seem like the same thing to me
It
too.
sounds
A lot of the
similar.
time,
Sounds similar.
isotope is something else. You know, I don't remember what they do.
Ozone is isotope.
Yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
say.
yeah.
Okay,
that is
yeah.
okay.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
that
just
makes
saw
more
the
sense.
ads and that's all. I
Ozone
knew
is
from
the-
it, so
Is the like the suite or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And isotope is the brand.
oh.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Just
Well,
like
that's
how
good to know.
everybody when they're like, "Oh, what DAW do you use?" and people say Ableton. Ableton is technically the company, and the
Oh,
DAW
yeah,
is called Live.
Yeah,
Yeah, but nobody like really calls it Live. Like,
Right.
oh, I work in Live. Yeah, no, I work in Ableton.
I can't get used to that. If I had to
It's
switch
weird,
over,
right?
it'd be so weird.
yeah,
Well, I guess you could say that like, well, I'm in Live Suite, and then you're like
Live
on a
Suite.
different version than just Live, right? Because isn't like
yeah. There's like Suite and then Free and then
If
Light.
you know, you'd know.
Yeah,
yeah.
You
Yeah.
could say it. I think an Ableton person
is that a-
would recognize it.
Is that a
Mhm.
J-Lo reference? If you know, you know.
I think it. Oh
Maybe.
yeah, she just she had her whole thing recently.
it would be fucking hilarious though if like you're talking to someone at the club or something and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm on Live Light." They've been producing
Dude.
for like 8 years.
I would even be confused for a second, like, what are you talking about? And they're like the Chad of the group that's just like, dude, I know what I'm talking about. You're
yeah,
like,
Live Light
"Whoa,
is
dude."
so much better.
Isn't that kind of like Blake?
No,
He's in FL Studio.
Well, yeah, but like free trial.
he was on the
Oh.
free trial though. Yeah,
He did say he was using that for a few years, but I mean, I hope he's not
A
now.
few years is a long time to use the trial version.
It
yeah,
is.
the trial version. Whatever works.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've been hyped on Ozone Imager, huh?
I have. It's good to get some stereo width, or just an easier way to get stereo width. There's a lot of ways you can do it, but I feel like there's just plugins that just make the process way easier as opposed to like doing a bunch of chorus
You
stuff.
know what it does?
No, not necessarily. I know it makes it wider.
There's one that's like a Haas. So there's
Yeah.
two ways to add stereo. One is like a Haas type thing, and then the other one I don't exactly know. It sounds similar to like just taking a utility from Ableton and boosting the stereo, whatever that's doing.
Sure. Yeah, I wonder if it's like just like a mid-side enhancer, or if it's more like making width. Can you put a mono thing in there and it'll make width?
It doesn't
it
really
wide?
do it well with mono signals. We were
Yeah.
trying that the other day.
So
and
yeah, so it's just probably just bringing the sides up in some sort of
Right.
specific way.
Right.
Maybe it has like a EQ curve.
I
how
can
it
see
kind
that.
of boosts the sides.
I love that you asked that because that was the
Interesting.
very first thing I did when he was like, "Yo, I'm pumped on Imager," and I downloaded it, threw one sound in, and I was like, "Okay, what does it do to a mono signal?" Like,
yeah, and immediately
instantly.
he didn't like. He's like, dude, it's not really doing anything. I'm like, oh, I thought like it, but it was the mono signal doesn't really do anything. It just enhances like a already stereo thing. And
Right,
just,
right.
But yeah, I would be interested to see like what the algorithm for it actually is or what it's actually doing.
Something I've been super pumped on is a rack that John sent me, where it's one macro and it's set up to like 8 different parallel chains essentially, and each one of them is just processing the stereo field or adding stereo in a different way. Like one of them is a Haas one. I
Oh,
just
nice.
added the Imager. I have one that's like the wider plugin,
Oh, we're
and that's been a fun one to just huck on a sound and scroll through all the options and be like, oh, this one actually like sounds a little bit better than widening it this way, you know.
Yep.
That's been
Try
fun,
different ways of widening.
right? Yeah, because normally I'm
a
just
quick
like
way to listen through them all.
exactly right, and then you can always like go in and fine tune if you need. But usually when I'm widening something, I will just pick the first thing that I think of and kind of just roll with it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of nice to just be like, oh, I got options this time. It's kind of cool. It's been fun.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll just go until something works.
Yeah, that's
Some sort of
exactly.
widening thing works. Or unless I'm using, I'll typically grab like convolution specifically for a reason. But I am looking for width out of that. You know?
I haven't messed around with convolution enough. I know it's like because that's what hybrid reverb is, right? Like convolution reverb.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like has the like I'm trying to think of something.
It has a convolution reverb and a regular reverb
Right. Okay, yeah. I
next to
haven't-
each other, and you can A/B.
It's interesting because it has kind of like gives a lot of things like a metallic kind of tone, or it has like a
can.
bit of like it can. That's from what I've
Yeah.
noticed from hybrid, at least because they have like preset algorithms in it. Some of them sound really metallic, like it just has this interesting top end on it.
Right. Which can be nice sometimes,
Yeah.
like if you're going for like, I just want like a weird tone, more experimental or creative kind of processing.
Think of it like a modeling. You want to think of it like more like a modeling thing, like an amplifier modeler or microphone modeler or just a room. That's why it's reverb a lot of the time. But you can find different ones will have like a bunch of different types of microphones that you're using. So you put that on there and it kind of just changes the shape of the sound into like whatever that microphone sounds like. Or amplifier or something like that. So they're really fun to use in like a really short kind of manner just to make the sound not just stare in the middle. You know, it just puts it in a weird spot.
Yeah, I
You
feel like
cycle through them until
I have a bit of a
it
problem
pops out.
with it being like too wet sometimes, and then it's just like too obvious.
Or like too long of a
With the
decay or
convolution?
something.
Yeah, well, just with a hybrid in general.
The parallel, putting it in parallel is nice to get some of the dry signal in there because it can be like 100% wet. It definitely
Yeah, like
can
it,
be a lot.
yeah, you just got to shorten the impulse that model. Just make that super short and it will be dry.
Have you guys ever messed around
Essentially.
with the Melda convolution?
I haven't, no.
It's fucking
there are so many
sick.
of them that's
The
kind
mel-
of overwhelming.
The
Yeah.
Melda convolution is sick.
It's so cool. It's
The
so good.
multi-band one.
Yeah, the multi-band especially, right? And it's really cool because if you have your own like sample library, or I guess just really any library, you can drag in your own sounds pretty easy. And after you do that, it kind of just detects all of your file paths, so you can quickly just like throw in random sounds as your impulse response.
Right.
And like that's cool. That's fun. It's nice and easy. But you can edit the impulses in a way that I haven't seen any other plugin do, where you can like stretch it all crazy and then pitch it or start at different times. Or it has like a built-in low pass filter and high pass filter that you can like modulate. So you can add like little like whips into
that's
the
sick.
reverb
That's
as well.
sick. It's
Yeah, you
great for
can-
like, especially
crazy.
for doing stuff with like with sends or like doing like little reverb throws and stuff like that. Like it'd be really that kind of stuff. I feel like if you use it as like your main reverb on a track, it could be like overwhelming. But using it even like subtly is really like can really like put it in a different space than like just like Valhalla. Like it can, or at least tonally, it like gives
That's
it
how
a
I
different
feel
thing.
like a lot of the macro knobs on the Zen World presets are, where like
Yes.
you wouldn't want to use it the whole time, but just a perfect little accent to like
Exactly right.
maybe just automate here and there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess I don't know, maybe we could try to make a rack with something like that in it too. Like
Totally.
a
Oh,
yeah.
weird convolution hybrid reverb.
That would
rack
actually be a
that
lot
just
of
like
fun.
has a bunch of macros for like maybe like low mids highs and then like I don't really know, a couple other fucking dumb things at that point, right? But
Right,
like
right.
just some more fun stuff to mess around with.
Yeah, and it's so good because if you do it the way that Dave was saying, where it's just a really tight guy, it is just like it adds just a blip of stereo information and then just like weird tonality to the sound.
Right.
And you don't even like process it really as reverb. It's just like, whoa, that was a strange layer of the sound. Like, or
I guess
you
it's
don't even-
almost like kind of some extra harmonics. too.
Yeah, yeah.
It does give
Like,
it some interesting.
just a little bit. Maybe it's subtle, but like it's not like editing the waveform or anything. But
It's
just-
a stereo. It just makes it sit weirdly EQ'd in a stereo way,
oh, okay.
which is kind of interesting. what I like doing is grabbing one, making it short, if the plugin will let you do this anyway, and then just cycling through impulses while I'm listening to it in context with the song. Because every once in a while you'll be like, oh, and all of a sudden it just sticks out and is really easy to hear. I'll choose that one.
Right. The one that like pops out. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, that's
good.
There we go.
All right.
It's got like a nice transient. It's cutting through very easily. You can just tell that it's there.
Right.
Yeah, it's really nice to help fit things into your song and make your song loud. You know,
Yeah.
you can usually fucking distort the fuck out of it after that too.
Right.
It's nice.
Right. Yeah.
Distort's
Exactly.
better.
Yeah,
I
we
love
gotta
the
get
way you
the
saturate, like
fucking-
any like making reverb, like putting a bunch of saturation or just putting a bunch of distortion on it sounds so cool.
Oh yeah.
This has a
Some
great,
OTT.
Yeah. Well, OTT especially, it brings out the highs so much.
Have you ever
know?
tried to God fucking damn it, this stupid water app.
I heard
I'm gonna
that.
delete it.
Yeah.
Have you ever
gotta
tried
do
to
that.
have you guys ever played with comb filters on your reverb?
No, I
Not on the
haven't.
reverb.
I've
Pretty
been
fun.
playing with comb filters just on Serum lately.
Oh yeah, they're
No,
sick.
But no, not on a reverb, no.
Dude, you're basically a rhythm producer now.
Oh, God.
You unlock the comb filter.
The comb filter. Well, you
use
you
shade.
did
you
this to
going
me.
like pre-verb or post-verb?
Post verb. Post verb.
Post verb.
All right.
And it's
Aggressive.
typically, I mean, I guess you could do it on like a really short reverb, but I like to do it on like a really, really long tail. And then you can automate the comb to sweep. And then it almost, it like sounds like a plane basically or a missile. Yeah, just like flying off
That's
into the
cool.
distance. Yeah.
So like a
it's fun.
flanger.
Yeah, basically. Basically.
Yeah.
That
Comb filter is
consistent-
basically that. Yeah.
The flanger always has that fucking plane taking off.
Close,
Fucking,
close to a phaser too.
Well, yeah, they're all in the same family.
Yeah, they're doing very similar things for sure.
Right. We've been on a reverb kick the past like 3 episodes. I think it's because
Really?
of me every time. I've been on a reverb
No,
kick, so
we-
I just
I-
keep bringing it up.
I think I brought it up this time,
Oh.
or maybe not. Maybe I didn't.
Let's go.
I don't know.
Can
It's-
still blame Austin.
Yeah, we'll still blame.
I've been making a bunch of liquid and listening to a bunch of liquid artists. They just fucking everything is fully soaked in reverb. It's like you
Yeah.
can't
Yeah,
even.
yeah.
It's like 100% wet. It's just
Jesus.
It is kind of crazy. They just mix it very well. Visage or
The drums are so
Visage,
good.
I can't
Right,
remember which
right.
guys or like which way to pronounce it, but those dudes like they're really fucking good at liquid. They make some really nice.
Visage. Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
Visage, visages. I don't know how to pronounce it. at this
Visage,
point.
probably.
Visages.
Visages, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they're like deep dub guys, but then they make liquid D&B sometimes too. So it's like you're getting that kind of sound design transposed into liquid D&B. So they just have these like saucy chords and everything, but it's just like what you were saying.
But
with
it's like
just
dubby at the same
yeah,
time.
exactly right, and it just
then
has so much
shit
space,
tons of reverb.
and just like it fills it in so fucking well. And then they're just like chopping some vocals up and blah 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 and everything like that, and even sometimes using like guitar loop samples too, which was kind of nuts. It still sounds really good. Those guys are nuts with it, but like they do liquid very very well.
Yeah.
So Dave, you typically produce things like very, very dry.
Yeah.
Are you trying to go more wet with it? Or are you trying to just take the concepts and just keep it dry?
I've been using more reverb
Let's
for
go.
like the last like 8 months or something.
Okay.
Reverb is good.
Like steadily kind of reinserting it into things here and there.
Nice.
Well,
nice.
it's different than thinking about like making dance tracks at a club. You kind of or
Yeah.
like even though you play
Oh,
liquid
yeah.
D&B at a club, but like just thinking about making like house or garage or anything like that, you want everything snappy and just like maybe you have a little reverb to put it in a room or like in a space, but for the most part you want it to just kind of like those clubs get echoey. You don't want it to necessarily just be
Right.
like
There's a few
traveling as
songs-
far as
Yeah.
There's a few
Possibly
songs that
can.
I can think of that like do that, but not many. Especially Tight
Yeah.
House. They don't really,
Dude, that's why it would be so fucking sick. We brought it up like a million times before, but like if we were just homies with whoever owned the club and we're like, yo, can we come in on a random Tuesday at noon
love it.
and just like produce on the speakers or just like test things out to see like how boomy actually would it be if I like just
Yeah.
take my kick drum and add like a
Just make kicks.
just make
Oh,
kicks.
Be so sick.
it would
Oh.
be very beneficial.
It would.
Especially with like, how mono or stereo it needs to be or whatever. Like
Sure.
how much is
Yeah,
gonna just
with
like
everything.
phase, just like sound way too boomy or bassy or something.
Mhm.
Especially since we see how their like mixer is set up for their speakers in the first place. Because we don't know like how Steam, for example, is gonna be setting up their fucking board in the back.
Mm.
You know, they may boost shit a little bit. Or
I know.
they
I'm curious to hear
may
our
cut it a
songs
bit,
in
right?
there.
Yeah, because a
Yeah.
lot of there's plenty of songs. Well, not plenty, but there's a decent amount of songs that we've never heard on a club system at all.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what they're gonna sound like. I've only heard my stuff on a club system once.
And I
Once.
don't think.
So-
I don't
Yeah.
think. I think the only song is "Wait a Minute" that we've heard. 'Cause
Oh no, I heard
they-
a couple. Never mind. I heard.
Oh yeah,
No,
you guys
no,
played
no,
Wait a Minute
That's in
also.
our. That's in our set.
Yeah.
This
And that one hit. That
That
one
one hit at
actually
a club, yeah.
sounded really good. I was really happy with that. Yeah, when you guys played it out, I was like, oh, this
It
shit's
sounded
actually
sick.
fucking bumping.
Oh.
Let's go.
Always
Oh, yeah.
again, shout out to Disclosure for the drum bus.
Yes.
Or the group bus this template. That helps a lot.
Right.
If anyone wants to know like a good starting place for making your own drum bus, watch the Soul State video of Disclosure basically just giving you the recipe for a good drum bus. And ever since I watched that video, my drum bus has pretty much just been modeled after
What is it?
Disclosure's. It's basically so you like what he does first, he compresses it first, and he does the classic, especially like on drums, the classic kind of like slow attack, fast release, stuff like that. Then
Compressor.
then saturating, and then he adds like a tape plug-in or like something that kind of gives it extra, or just anything that colors it more. Like
Oh, did he have a?
he has like he has
remember
this
that.
thing called tape. I don't remember what plugin is. It's not like RC20 or anything. He was using some like probably some British crazy person. I don't know what it was, but he was using like to give it some like kind of like some tape or some kind of like analog kind of feel to it. And then what else does he
warmth.
use? And then I think
Soothe.
Soothe is another big thing.
Soothe was
for-
on it.
Soothe is on it,
And
and then
then they do a
limiting,
limiter.
and then
Yeah.
limiting, and that's pretty much like. But like that was because before that I only used the stock Ableton drum bus, and I didn't necessarily know what it was doing. I was just kind of like randomly sticking it on there and not really like. But then to see him kind of break down like how you want to process like drums and just like I don't know, just in that like specific way what each individual thing is doing was really helpful.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Didn't we also get the group bus from Disclosure too? For
think
like
no, that
Oh.
was
saying that.
Disclosure does do.
Well,
electric
actually, yeah,
bus stuff.
the way we level our group buses, we 100%
Yeah.
got from him.
Okay.
Which is funny because I've heard people say that like so many times through the years, but for some reason I just never did it. And then randomly
It
one day we were
works.
to like, let's just try it, and I do
works
that
out
for every song now.
pretty fucking well.
Yeah.
Those Soul State videos, it's nice because it's like, kind of like in a casual format where they're taking clips from guys on Twitch, like or not, or just like streaming, and it's like very conversational and not like really wordy or anything like that. They're just kind of like showing you exactly what they're doing, and then they just like it's easier to kind of pick up on that when you're just like sometimes when you're watching a tutorial and they go way too like when it's too wordy and you're not actually like picking up, sometimes you're like you need to show more. Like I feel like sometimes they're not showing enough, and like with Soul State it's really good about just showing exactly what they're talking about
Yeah,
instead
because
of
Right.
like
when you guys
Right.
told me about the group bus, it was pretty simple. It was treble at negative or vocals and melody at -10 or -9, bass at -8, then drums at -6,
6.
and FX at -12 to 14.
And then like chords, melodic stuff, also -10.
Right? Yeah, it's all in the
it's a good starting. It's a good at least starting point to kind of like figure out
It's pretty simple.
where you're at because it's the whole a
Once you
headroom.
start limiting-
Once you get a little bit of headroom,
Where's the
you start-
bass?
-8.
Yep.
Negative
-8.
Or you could
Where's
go,
the kick?
-6.
yeah,
Minus
-6.
six.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it's also nice too because like I won't always like just call it good at all those levels. Like I'll play with the levels
Oh, for sure.
sometimes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But it gives you just like a general range of
General range.
What was
general
the
range
what
of just
was
where you
the-
want things to sit.
The sub, did we get that from the group bus too? The -10 for
No.
the sub? Because I feel
So-
like that kind of mixed in pretty well with like the bass being a -8.
Right.
If you're
right.
cutting all the lows out and your sub is at 10,
That's
bass is
one
at
I kind of
8.
got from like Caleb and Dave through the years.
Oh,
Is
okay.
just have your sub be a little bit quieter. Caleb, I think he says he has his sub sit at like a -5. So ours is technically
Right.
like a -4 compared to the kick.
right.
Or I'm sorry, yeah, he has his sub 5 under the kick, whatever the kick level is at. We have ours at 4. Sometimes we go louder, sometimes we go
Right,
quieter.
Yeah, so I guess you just do the math from there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's nice because I wasn't really playing with headroom at the time at all. Like when I first started mixing and mastering and stuff like that, I did not know what I was doing at all.
Straight zeros
Yeah,
across the board.
you don't
for
know
every channel.
anything. You're just like, this seems fine, and then like with the group bus, and then just figuring out where things should sit, just relatively to like just to have headroom so that you can push into your limiter and your like into your master at the end. It like it is really helpful.
Mm-hmm. I've kind of developed this like bad habit, which I don't think is really a bad habit, but I'm sure maybe it is, where I'll like work on the track for an hour or whatever, like to a point where it's like all the main elements are more or less there, and then I'll just instantly master it and just get it loud as fuck,
Really?
just to hear what it's gonna sound like at that level, and then I'll just work on it for like 3 more hours, and then maybe take it off and then keep working. But sometimes I'll forget and just work into the master
I'm kind
every
of
time.
back and forth with it sometimes too. Sometimes I'll just do it right off the bat and just be like, yeah, whatever. I just want it to be fucking like loud right now or something. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, because you don't
It
want any
kinda
surprises with like
Yeah.
all of a sudden you put on your master chain and then it's just fucking sounds like it's horrible. Where you're like all the highs are super resonant and you're just like, what did I do? It's good to at least get like a frame of reference of how loud things are going to sound with your master. So like, which is, you know, if you don't get your tracks mastered, no shade to people who get their tracks mastered, but if you don't, you get a good reference of how things are going to sound when they're pushed really hard, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's nice. And then you can kind of just see like if something sounds really present and nice in the master, and then you take off your master chain, you can go back to like your bass sound, and then it sounds like much, much weaker, which of course is like what's going to happen the way we master our stuff. But you can kind of just be like, okay, well, what happens if I do pump up my bass a little more, distort it a little more, brighten it up a little more?
You just turn the decibel up like 1.
Or just turn up the volume a little, and then you turn the master back on and listen again, and you're like, oh, wait, that actually does sound better. It's coming through a little bit tighter or heavier or whatever the fuck you need.
It's a really straightforward template. I always hated being on GarageBand for just the fact that it was just so unorganized.
Right.
I'm actually interested though, Dave, what do you do as far as your drum bus goes? Or like, how do you process? Do you do group processing with that, or do you like have a specific kind of drum bus that you use, like a template that you use?
I will. My kick and my snare on their own, and they just get. They go right to the master on their own, and then the rest of the drums are all just in the group that's getting side chained.
You sidechain all of your percussion? Like all the
Yeah.
hats and top loops and
Yeah.
whatever? Interesting.
Right now, I am.
Like fully down or like a 50% sidechain?
It's the same as everything.
Interesting.
Oh,
Exact
okay.
same side chain. It's I don't do like heavy side chain.
We don't
Like my
usually-
side chain is a lot, but it's transparent. Hopefully, so it will obviously take out little blips and things, but you'll get the tails
Right.
a little bit. But if I don't like that, I'll just take it out and put it somewhere else. Just on the template, that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, just kind of treat things accordingly to what I'm feeling in the moment. Once I get a bunch of drums in there, I'll put a clipper on it and push it into something. I don't know. Just
Right.
kind of
Gotcha.
whatever I'm feeling in the moment.
That's fair. That's fair.
That makes sense though. Just whatever the track you feel like it needs at the time.
Which is always
Yeah.
the thing, right?
What's it? Because the idea of having like a preset bus that you made is nice, but then it's like not always what the track even needs. You're just kind of like but it is a good starting point to have like a bus or something like that to just be like, okay, I can fuck around with this,
100%, right?
and just figure it out at that point.
Yeah, at least you have the
It's
option
especially
to play.
good if you don't have good ears. You know,
Yeah.
if you're like
Yes.
newer,
Yeah,
then like that's not
Oh, yeah.
too bad. Just have a
That shit
thing
can
that
help
already.
so much.
Just as long as you know how hard you're pushing into it.
Right.
Because if you have a preset channel thing, then and you're just smashing sounds into it, it's gonna sound bad no matter what.
Right. I'm sure even a beginner
you
could
still
just
have
like
to-
test a couple mixes out and figure that out pretty quickly though with like a nice just like drum.
They will
buzz
figure it out
rack,
because
right? Like,
we're telling them, and
Yeah.
so is everybody
there's a lot of other
online.
people out there
Right.
to help
Yeah.
with that shit. So like, shouldn't take too long. Just gotta experiment with it a little bit and just, I guess, put the time into actually like setting it up like they do or something like
Dude,
that.
I feel like a great experiment would be to have every first-year producer have to play this shit on club speakers.
I know.
Like, just to see, like,
Yeah.
just to give them
If
a frame
only
of
that were
reference
an
is like, oh
opportunity.
god, like my mix is not even close to being there as far as being in a club because it's so. At first, you don't really have a lot of context in terms of what things are going to sound like on.
Yeah,
a
you have
system
to
like
listen
that.
to
A lot of
it
people have no
right
context.
next to a really, really dope song too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like not just on the club speakers. Like we're gonna play Flume and
Right.
then your song
Test that
and then
mix
noise
with
song.
somebody that's a fucking pro and just see how much you need to work at that point.
Right.
Dude, that would be a great learning.
Well, that's
curve.
the idea of fucking referencing other people's music and
Absolutely.
like trying to get their mix down and everything and just seeing exactly what they're doing, even like arrangement style and like sound selection, sample selection, so on and so forth. Like, you need to listen to people that are better than you
Oh,
to
absolutely.
get better. That's how it was with skating.
Oh well, dude, like with most skills, I feel like the best thing to do is to be surrounded by people that are way better than you are.
Yep.
And even if that means like even if you're producing by yourself, but then you're influenced by big artists, like really successful artists that are just way better than you. That's great. You know, just to. I mean, it might make you feel bad sometimes about the way that you mix or the way
It
you
always,
do things.
it
It always does. But it's like it's
always
healthy to just be like,
It
this
will
is
do
what I'm
that.
competing with. Like that's the thing is like
It'll
you want to be
definitely
up
do
to
that.
snuff with the people that are doing that.
It's in the name. You gotta have a frame of reference.
You gotta have a frame of reference.
can't do it without nothing unless you're some fucking weird prodigy savant.
Unless you're Skrillex.
Squirrel X.
Yeah, I guess that is a different story. No, he still listened to Deep Dub. He still definitely listened to Deep Dub.
Yeah.
All right, I want to shout out a couple AI tools.
Oh shit,
Oh.
that's
Oh
right.
shit, that's right.
Let's
Okay.
go.
So we got one that's called Suno, Suno, Suno.ai. And you can ask it to make you songs, and it will make straight up songs with people singing in them. You can decide what genre you want. It makes up all the words for you. It makes all the song for you. It's fucking crazy.
It is insane.
Wild
It's
how fast
really
it's
fun. It's really fun to fuck with though, and I think there's a lot of really good use cases for it. For instance, like as a sampler or something to find samples to use in your song, because it's a song that nobody has. You made it with the AI's
Yeah,
help.
it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Until you do it.
Yeah.
So
You just created it, and so now you have this thing that you could go and sample with, which is pretty sick. And fucking, you're making some fucking house music. Well, have it make a gospel song for you, and then fucking
Just use the original
distort
vocal.
that and fucking
Yeah, I wonder
throw
who-
it on your song
like,
and
whose
chop it up.
vocals They're
Yep,
pulling from. Like,
They're probably
artists.
referencing a lot.
Many,
Yeah, they're
many,
referencing a
many
lot.
Like I wonder
songs.
how. I don't know. I mean,
It's
just
like they're taking like an average of what they like.
then
They
just,
take
like,
like the averages of
smashing it
like
all
what
together.
sounds, what most artists in that genre sound like, and then they kind of just like.
and then what? I guess
spew
it
it
was
out.
like Ariana Grande or some shit like that. What you showed us
Yeah.
the other
So
day.
yeah, so there's another piece of software that will do. You can input like your own voice into it, and then have it change your voice into another voice. Or you could use something that already exists, and it'll change the voice for you, which is pretty fucking sick too.
That
To
is
be
sick.
honest,
I mean,
That's-
if they're doing that with vocals already and able to make it sound pretty real, then just normal text to speech is like already probably like sounding like us at this point, where it's just like. Because I feel
Yeah,
like
I mean, if
singing
you
is
sing
probably,
into
like,
it-
pretty hard to emulate.
Oh, sure.
As opposed
Yeah.
to just people talking. That like it's nuts that they're already able to do that. I'm sure just people talking. Like I don't know, maybe like you get spoken word shit, like pre-drop vocals probably pretty easily from
Oh, for
that,
sure.
right? At that point, if it's able
Maybe.
to make people sing and
Yeah,
make
I
it
don't-
sound realistic,
I don't
feel
know
like
if it does talking or not.
I'd be interested to see like these just like producer tags, shit like that, right?
Oh yeah, you could do some
Like,
stuff
you-
like that.
Yeah.
What was it? What was the?
Be pretty fun. You could have fucking SpongeBob
Yeah, yeah.
do your
SpongeBob.
producer tag
Oh
for you.
shit, right? I feel like if they're already getting people to sing like Ariana Grande, then that's probably not.
Yeah,
that
that
far
website I
off.
was using,
Yeah.
I don't remember. I think it's like Musicfy or something like that. But it is pretty troll with the options.
Yeah, yeah.
There's not like a ton of like really good, nice, usable ones. A lot of them are just weird characters.
Well, I imagine
Right.
it's like Morgan Freeman, and then like you said, SpongeBob or some shit like that.
Oh
Right?
yeah, I
Honestly,
wonder if
Morgan
we can get
Freeman in
Morgan
one?
Freeman to sing.
That would be fucking
That would be
amazing.
Dude, one thing AI
Do
will
we even know what that sounds like though?
Dude.
No.
I don't know.
Dude, one thing AI I think will help out a lot is that a lot of us producers are not necessarily great singers or
Have a lot of money to hire
social.
people.
social. So the
Yeah,
idea of
yeah.
like not having to only use splice fucking vocals and like
I
have
know.
it give something original and then you can sample that is
Yeah, there's a lot of
so
times,
helpful because it's like now I'm noticing the more and more I listen to just new music all the time is like the amount of just people that are using the exact same splice vocals or like in a very similar way too. They're not even doing anything like
Well, then
Yeah.
even you get like a nice tone with somebody, but the lyrics are really dumb.
Oh,
You're
that's
like, well,
the
worst.
I would like this person. I just wish they weren't saying this like specific thing. So maybe at that point you just be like, don't say this dumb thing and do this.
yeah,
other
just
thing.
you get to decide what it
You
says.
can tell it exactly what
Yeah.
to sing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So
There's a
that's-
couple words it won't say. You can try and figure those out
I'm
yourself.
sure-
Does
I'm
one of them
sure
start with a
there's-
C?
Yeah.
Cat.
All right, cat. Yeah, it doesn't
Ooh.
say that.
Can you change like the inflection or like the melody, or does it kind of just auto generate?
On the voice,
Yeah, on the voice.
well, it depends on how you're doing it. That one, I don't know if you can just have it make like sing you vocals. That one you need to input something. And then you can like put in metadata to try and get the Suno one to do specific things with the vocals. You could be like, this is a mellow verse or something
Oh,
like that.
okay.
Like,
You
just
can like
put
kind
that in
of
like parentheses
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
that, and then it just like accents it. I've seen
Yeah.
that with like a couple of other like text of speech things where you like change the octave of it, and you're like, well, I'm gonna do it blah 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 here, and then it figures out how to program that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
so wild.
Yeah, there's another one that I've been seeing just because I looked up a video for this one, so then my YouTube's just
Yeah,
showing
you
me
just-
all the
yeah.
AI vocal things.
Yeah.
It's all AI now.
there's
AI
one-
algorithm is getting you.
There's one that's like a VST that you could just type in the words and then write the MIDI, and it'll just do it in the exact MIDI that you set up, and then you can fuck it up
So it's kind of like
to make it sound a little bit more
like a sampler, pretty much
natural
like
or
an
whatever.
AI sampler almost.
That's fucking sick.
Well, it's writing
You just
original
write MIDI
stuff.
and then you write words and
oh.
it sings it.
Oh, and it does
Yeah.
the melody of your MIDI.
Yeah.
With the oh, okay, all right.
That's
never mind.
cool. That is really
with the
cool.
voice.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
You can also sing into that one, and it'll
Okay, yeah, I remember you
change
talking
your voice
about that
into
one,
something
too.
else.
Mm-hmm.
That
I
one's
don't-
wild to me.
I haven't looked into that
Yeah.
one because I think it probably costs money.
Right.
The
Yeah,
way
it sounds-
it looks like it's a little more intense, but I hear it's pretty good for auto tune. Someone said that. I was like, it would make sense for an AI thing to be really good with auto tune.
Yeah,
It would
Oh,
be
yeah.
amazing, right?
because
Yeah.
it can
And
like
wanna change
fill
it.
in the gaps better.
Oh,
Well, it's
Right,
kind of
right.
like all that like Vocaloid stuff that was coming out. Like,
I mean, that's
well,
that shit
it's
is
still huge.
super popular.
But like that whole scene that kind of like developed in Japan, where it was
Vocaloid is,
like
really.
where it's all AI generated, but it's like that as a specific vocal.
yeah.
The Vocaloid sound is really interesting. I don't know what
It's
exactly
kind of-
they were using at
It's
the
kind
time.
of like sampley, like kind of like MIDI sample chops, like Dave is talking about of it, but it's like a synthesized vocal, so it's like pretty much just like a Vox or like a vocoder.
but it
It's
sounds
just,
really
like-
good.
It's just really high quality. I don't know how they.
Dude, Japan was ahead of the
Yeah.
curve with that kind of shit. Holy, they were really like.
Hatsune Miku is basically who you're
Hatsune
talking about. She
Miku.
doesn't exist, but she's a vocaloid.
She exists to me.
Yeah, well, she's basically the first iteration of like AI stuff, except for instead of it being generated, like people were like ghostwriting for her almost.
Right.
But
An
the
AI
idea of
superstar.
it, because like she's just like a hologram on stage, and it's all pre-recorded and everything. Like there's not really much of a like. I don't.
Oh.
Whoa.
Thanks, Grandma.
Thank you, Grandma.
Grammy Mouse coming in with the gifted. We love and appreciate you.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if they're already there with the Hatsune Miku shit that like is like hologram wise, if they just add the AI that is in it now, like they'll be fully like autonomous, basically. Like a real artist almost.
Well, they tried to not too long ago. They tried to do there was like this AI rapper that for a sec, and it lasted for like 3 or 4 months, and then it really didn't go anywhere.
The guy with the
like,
green hair?
Yeah. It didn't go anywhere.
I have
but
not seen
it's
any
just
of this.
it's just gonna keep getting. They're gonna keep trying it, and eventually one will stick. I mean, Hatsune Miku already did stick, and that's
For
in
sure.
Japan. So like never
Yeah.
they made the mistake of making it a man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. then
the
it's
grave
not
mistake.
It's not a cute anime.
It's
girl.
not cute anime. Yeah, it's just boring
It
old.
doesn't help.
Just-
Yeah. Another thing I think is nice about this music creation AI stuff is it'll give you a really good idea of how many different ways you can make one thing like because it'll give you multiple versions of all the same lyrics but in like different styles and all this shit. So like
Synplant did that
you
perfectly.
hear
with
them
bass. Like,
yeah.
You just throw a sample and it's like, here's 10 other different ones or 20 other different ones.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah, so it'll show you that you can go and make a different melody and a different bit of rhythm and make all the same lyrics work a different way. And it's nice because like melody is hard to like be interesting with for me at least. So it's nice to hear different versions of a melody on a thing and kind of be like, ooh, that's a cool way to do it.
You can get stuck in your head a lot with melodies when you just feel like everything sounds shit when you try to change it around.
Yeah, no, I just have like go-to shit that my brain wants to do, and I'm bored of it.
Also the case.
That's really where I'm at.
Well,
I'm just never knowing what to do. I'm like,
yeah,
the shit that I do all the time doesn't sound fun to me at
right?
all.
Yeah, because you've done it already too many times before, and you just need something fresh. But when you try to change it up a bit, you're like, well, it's not like what I like because it's not what you're usually doing, right? At that point, because you're changing it yourself, so you're being self-critical. And you get that little generation, and you're like, oh, I actually kind of like that. It was different, blah, blah, blah. Then you just use it so easily at that point.
Right.
Well, we are limited by our own brains as producers. Like eventually,
Still
especially
human.
once you figure out that something works, your brain. Me and Austin were talking about this earlier. Once you start figuring out that a certain kind of like, even I was talking about like polyrhythms for like a year straight. It was like everything had to be a polyrhythm, and then you're like, you add some just like straight rhythms into it, and you're like, oh, why was I not doing that? Because your brain just gets so used to writing things a certain way.
It's muscle memory.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like reflex almost.
You're just like putting yourself in a box without even realizing you put yourself in a box.
Yes,
It's
which
so
is
strange.
That's why you always got to be working on different aspects of your craft so you're not staying stale.
And always trying to like innovate to some degree.
Yeah.
God, was it? I hope it was Frequent. I hope I'm not getting this wrong. But I think Frequent just dropped a YouTube video like 2 days ago. And it's like an hour and a half like intro course to this new big course he's making or whatever. And he gave out the first episode for free. And one of the things he was saying is all of his students through the years, something that apparently helps them a lot is he tells them to just try and do one new thing every time you make a song, like one thing you've never done before or one weird thing you don't think would work, but like just try it. Just do it, make it work, just to like push your brain in that way. Mm-hmm. Just like work that muscle.
Yeah,
it's tough.
And there's something to that.
It's definitely tough, but
it is tough.
But
it's always hard to make a change. But if you just kind of force it a little bit, not uncomfortably, but like if you feel like, well, I'm just bored with things right now, Like at that point,
even
it's probably the best
uncomfortably,
time.
because sometimes failure is the best teacher ever. So if you just try something new and it sucks and it doesn't work, you're like, well, I can. But then also you can just keep trying it until it does work. You can kind of like, if it's like a solid enough idea, you'll keep trying it until it does actually work. But like it is one of those things you need to. I mean, it's pretty much every time I try something new with music, I just fail about 1,000,000 times.
Yeah, it almost never works.
It never works right. First try, I mean, but then it is good to just like keep trying it, and then eventually it starts to make sense. But I think our brains are pretty stubborn as people, so we're like, well, it's things that we don't understand. We're just like more likely to give up on. So it's just like if you can stick with it for a little bit, it does help.
That's
discipline, baby.
discipline.
Yes.
That's not
No.
discipline.
No.
That is not.
You get
It
whipped
is.
if you fail.
Well, you get the
slavery.
ruler.
That's something that was kind of nice about like the three of us skating. Oh wait, no, you skated too.
Dave skated too.
And I'm sure like there's a bunch of sports and many things where this applies, but as a skater, like to learn a new trick, you fail like 99 fucking times in a row for like 3 hours straight
Lots
until
of
you
singers.
just get it once. Like it's
And
so
then
we
you're
were just like,
oh my god.
Yeah.
everyone see that? You saw that, right?
Nobody sees it though.
It's
Yeah,
good
no,
producer.
nobody
It's
cares.
good producer training though to like
It was like
constantly
training
be
for
failing. Well, we were so used to failure. By the time you get to on a doll, you're like, oh, okay, whatever. At least I'm not like falling on concrete every time. Like
Yeah.
at least it's just my maybe my hands get cramped a little.
It
or
just
some
mentally,
shit.
it just mentally hurts now.
It mentally
Just
hurts.
Mentally
here you
hurts.
go.
Physically and mentally, it's better just mentally at that point. But the same concept applies. Muscle memory. You get used to doing a kickflip the same way. Maybe you're like, well, I need to change this. It looks dumb. Because there's some people do have really shitty kickflips, and like, when you change it, it's at a certain point. So it's like, yeah, you gotta.
The people with the
change.
shitty style who just never made a point to work on their
they never
style.
work on it, right? And then you just got a shitty style for the rest of your life. I mean, same
Right.
thing can happen with music and everything like that. Like guitar players.
And you can hear that in production, like certain people's finesse, like the way they just build their drums or do their fills or do their chops or whatever the fuck. Like you
Totally.
can hear it, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's like saucy. Like,
Yeah, you got that like seasoned veteran kind of like aspect to it where it's
Yeah.
just like these dudes. It's like David Reyes.
yeah,
You look at that
sure.
dude and you're like, he's been skating for a real long time. He
Yeah,
knows
you
what
can
he's
see it.
fucking doing, dude. Like he's got his
Even the way
shit
they
fucking
push,
down.
they're like, oh,
Yeah, and
this
it
dude's
looks
been doing
right.
it for a while.
Good, right? So I guess in that same instance, it's like you're like with like I don't know Rohan or Skrillex or something like that. They pull a kick and you're just like, oh my god, it's already like a perfect kick. Probably just because they have like good sound selection and like sample
Right.
selection or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, they know what they know what their style is, and then they can play with that. They know
Yeah.
the kinds of sounds that they typically use,
really
and they know, like once you already kind of have a style, you can really play with messing with that style too. Because I feel like Skrillex in recent years, that's pretty much all he's been doing is like he had the specific sound that people knew him for. And then for the past couple of years, he's just like, how do I just not do that and just do some weird shit?
Well, he's been
You know?
working with it though. He's
Yeah,
been doing
exactly.
it, but not doing it exactly the same way, which is kind of exactly what we're talking
It
about.
does, yeah, exactly,
It's
right?
like he-
Going out of your comfort zone.
Because imagine if he just like that last record he put out, if it was just Scary Monsters 2.
No,
like,
yeah,
people would
right.
be like,
But he would
why?
do it.
Like,
Yeah.
it'd be like, what are you doing now?
Yeah.
But
you
it's
know.
not. It's like very different.
Oh,
from that.
yeah.
So it's like cool to even see somebody in that situation still just like not letting the like normal thing come in. I guess back to the whole AI thing too. It's like any tool that can help you just like learn more things, I think is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I know AI is scary and whatnot, but like it's still very useful too and can help a lot of people in more than just like, oh, dumb economic stuff. Like it can help creative people be more creative instead of just thinking about, well, it's just gonna kill all of our fucking careers in the future.
No, it just gives you a new way to
Yeah.
do things faster.
And that's
Mhm.
It's a
great. That's
speed
what all of
boost.
us are looking
is.
for.
It really
you know?
is, yeah.
You always have to waste so many time. Like that's what templates are for. Like when we start up Ableton, like there shouldn't be any reason why we have to like put drum bus on every time. If you use that every time, might as well just do it.
Or
and
like
it just
set up your
saves you
side
time.
chain every time. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
save
would
yourself a
Be
few minutes.
Fucking annoying. So
Mhm.
same thing with AI, right? Like if it fucking helps me make a cool song faster, then it helps me make a cool song.
Wasn't that
faster.
the whole thing with like Einstein wearing the same clothes every day?
Oh yeah.
It's like one or like geniuses like not or whatever. They like if they wear the same clothes every day, it's less things they have to think about so that they can think about the the actual like research and work that they're doing. I feel like
it's like getting dressed in different clothes is a waste of time. I have science.
I mean, there could be something to learn from production. And well, look at Rick Rubin, dude. Like, you have your beard just grow endlessly and your hair grow endlessly. You never...
Pretty much just a homeless guy.
He's just a homeless man who is really smart, but it seems like he doesn't get... Like, he lets himself... that energy is not spent on him just the way he looks. It seems like because obviously he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care at all. Like so, like there's.
Well, he's an old man too.
Yeah, he's an old man, but like.
I'm sure you don't really care either way.
You're right.
But yeah, like
I bet
I guess
he likes the way he looks.
Oh, I like the way he looks
yeah.
too.
He looks fucking stylish as fuck.
Yeah.
His just hair is out of control.
I feel
But that's like
he's-
guru vibes.
It
He is a guru.
I was gonna say Zen. He's like the epitome
Yeah.
of just like content and calm.
Rich,
Yeah, he's
rich guru
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah,
That's probably the reason why he's so chill. He's got money.
yeah. I mean, after a while, like you either start doing really wild
Helps.
shit with your money, or you decide to become some weird guru. Like Jim Carrey did that too. Now he's some weird, like zenned out guru guy. All of a sudden,
Yeah,
you're
he
like,
seems
oh
like
shit.
he went a little crazier.
I know, right?
He's got
Lost it a little more.
Yeah,
He's
I
got
agree
some
with that.
pretty decent takes, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
he's just fed up with Hollywood, and he's just like, I'm gonna shit on this. Now.
Just
But-
make a joke out of it.
That's besides the point.
Yeah,
Right,
I mean,
right.
I like Jim Carrey.
No,
Oh,
he's-
I
I
love
do
him.
think
Fucking
he's fucking insane though.
he's
He's a wild man.
All right, what do we do? Call this thing?
Yeah.
we could call it.
Sure,
We
yeah.
hit an hour.
Spot.
Hit an hour. All right.
Ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen,
You
thank
gotta
you all for being
chomp
here.
below you.
Oh.
We have a cat in the
We have a cat
podcast
in here.
studio, the real special guest of this episode who you didn't
Try
see.
not to step on him.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Grammy Mouse, thank you for those
Thank
gifted
you.
subs.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, everybody.
Have a great week.
Always400.com.
If you want to come see in Vega live at Bar Standard, go ahead, dude.
Thursday.
Yeah,
Go
honestly,
ahead.
hit us up. We'll put you on the guest list.
Yeah.
On Instagram, I'm 400 Aznadel, 400 Von Klaus, and 400 Worn In. Hit any of us up.
We're playing in Kuwait.
We're playing what? In Kuwait?
It's in the Middle East.
Oh, okay. Never heard of it. Alrighty, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.